As the World Juniors have drawn to a close, some Habs prospects shown that they have star potential. We'll be talking about all the Habs prospects at the World Juniors, plus a really unfortunate Kaiden Guhle injury update showing that he'll be out at least 8 weeks. Finally, Habs prospect Riley Kidney was in a blockbuster trade in the QMJHL, so you don't want to miss anything we have to say on this edition of Habs Digest. Hello, bonjour, ahoy, and welcome to today's news edition of Habs Digest. I'm your host, Josh Gosse, alongside my co-host, Jesse Poirier. And quickly before we get into the video, quick reminder, subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment, helps us out in the algorithm. You guys have been loving our daily videos, and we love producing them. Jesse, topic number 1 today. I wanted to get into the madness that was the World Juniors for the Montreal Canadiens. As we know, the Habs had the most prospects at the World Juniors. I think it's 7 with Owen Beck making his debut there for the last 3 games that Team Canada had. Boy, man, I am elated with our prospects production. What was your feeling on the overall Habs prospect performance?
All of our prospects really showed up. All of our prospects that started this tournament all finished with at least 1 goal. And then even Beck, who was a very late addition, even managed to get an assist in very sparing minutes, very, very productive, very efficient when he was on the ice. So, I mean, all of our players had an amazing tournament, but what you really want to see is those skills that are translatable to the NHL from these prospects. And I saw that with a number of our Habs rookies.
Yeah, for sure. As I just showed there some of the stats, you can see Joshua Waugh tied for 4th in scoring. Filip Mesar also near the top, even though he only played in 5 games. 6 points in 5 games. And like you said, Jesse, some of these guys have shown NHL level ability. And the guy I wanted to start with is Joshua Waugh. Now, we know that he has had some history of maybe not giving 100%, and his skating has been a little bit questionable, but his ability to fight for pucks this tournament was amazing, and I don't think there's any question anymore about his desire to play in these games. And just take a look at some of these advanced stats for him. Overall an 81 with a 96 out of 100 offensive rating, 94 defensive. The only weakness was his transition exits from the zone, as this is tracked by Mitchell Brown and Lassie Allen, and this is 5v5 only, but transition didn't matter for him because he had Connor Bedard and Logan Stankoven on his line. Jesse, Joshua Waugh was someone that we were excited to see how he would do in this tournament. We knew he was good last year. We knew he was a bit of a utility guy, but I mean, be honest, was it kind of surprising to see him put up these kind of point totals, these kind of offensive and defensive ratings, being an elite penalty killer the whole time?
He showed a little bit of everything. He showed skill, and he showed enough grit to make Clint Eastwood happy, and quite proud. And that's what I loved about his game. It's like, what really stood out for me is like Joshua Waugh is strong. He can hit, but he can also take a hit. You saw many times in this tournament where somebody kind of tried to bump him off the puck, and he's just standing his ground right there, unshaken, unmoving, So I just thought that, he showed a lot of improvement, and that's all that you want to ask. These are young hockey players that are still in development, and all you want to ask is for them to improve in the areas that they're lacking. And skating and the effort was some of maybe the red flags, and we've seen a noticeable improvement in this tournament compared to previous ones. So this is showing a young man who knows what his weaknesses are, he knows what his strengths are, and he's taking time to really improve on them and get better at them, and that's really all that you can ask.
It really is. I mean, his development just in this tournament is outstanding. You know he's going to go back to the Q with a new sense of fire, because he's going to be, if he wasn't dominating before, he's definitely going to dominate now. But other than Joshua Waugh and Team Canada and Owen Beck, we had some other great prospects, and the number 1 guy I want to talk about a bit now is Filip Mesar, who looked great for Team Slovakia. Of course, maybe they would have looked better with Slafkovsky. I'm happy he's still with the NHL club. I'm sure Team Slovakia missed him, but Mesar stepped up in his absence. Like we said, 6 points in 5 games, and Jesse, maybe some of his playmaking and skating ability was his strongest attribute in this tournament.
Absolutely. He's shown that he has a finishing touch, but what really impressed me was, his 4 assists, his 2 goals, but really showing great playmaking ability. And no other play really showed that as much for me as that game against Canada, where they're down 3-2 in the 3rd period. We're getting that second half of the 3rd period. He's going behind the net. He then puts on the brakes to be able to create that space from the Canadian defender, then comes out kind of to the half wall and makes a beautiful pass to the front of the nets to the other Nemitz brother, who then pots home the goal to make it 3-3. For me, when I was watching that play, he showed NHL level skill and playmaking on this play, all the tools that are going to make him such a great player. So I was just so happy to see this. He did all the work on that play.
Mm-hmm.
All Nemitz really had to do was tap it in. I was really impressed by Filip Mesar at this tournament.
Yeah, me too. And it's unfortunate to refer to Libor Nemetz as the other Nemetz, but we know it's, the other Nemetz, second overall. It's okay, but you're right, Jesse. I mean, Mesar was one of the guys for Team Slovakia, if not the guy. And remember, he's doing this at just 18 years old as well. A lot of these Habs prospects are pretty young, and including the next guy we're getting into in Lane Hutson, 18-year-old. Yeah, he was a bit overshadowed by Luke Hughes. Luke Hughes got a lot more of the minutes, but when Hutson was on the ice and able to do his thing, boy, he shined. We had prospects raving about him, his skating ability, his ability to play make in the offensive zone. Maybe his only weakness this tournament was in transition defense, being able to stop zone entries. Couldn't quite do that as well, but boy, when he was in the offensive zone, it felt like Team USA was a completely different monster. And don't forget, even though the announcer said it was Luke Hughes, it wasn't. It was Lane Hutson who drove the net, caused the rebound for the USA's eventual game-winning goal in overtime. And also we have guys like Oliver Kapanen, Vinzenz, Rohrer, captains of their team. Jesse, let's just get back to Hutson. I think he proved anyone that was doubting him because of his size wrong, right? Like, his offensive ability, if it wasn't clear in the NCAA before, it's clear now.
Absolutely. Having 1 goal, 3 assists in very sparing minutes with a very stacked Team USA. Absolutely. He played amazingly well. And what I like so much about Mesar and then also with Hutson was they all showed the ability to contribute in clutch situations, which for me, I find is very important.
Yeah, it definitely is. And a quick cap off on this World Juniors Habs recap. Oliver Kapanen didn't have the best tournament, a bit of bad luck, but he still managed to score a goal as captain for Team Finland. And Vinzenz Rohrer still managed 3 points in 5 games for Team Austria when he was basically the guy that every team was honing in on. One of the only true threats on the team, still managed 3 points, still was a leader. The coaching was raving about him, doing everything, working hard, being a leader. So I couldn't be happier with our Habs prospects at this tournament. Next topic today. Kaiden Guhle's out 2 months. Yep, unfortunately, we're just news right here. If you haven't heard it, you heard it now. Kaiden Guhle ratera au moins 8 semaines. He has a lower body injury. He's sidelined for a minimum of 8 weeks. This hurts. This hurts a lot, and I have a little picture of the current Habs injuries. We have Sean Monahan, lower body, out at least 2 weeks. Mike Matheson, lower body, out at least 2 weeks. Brendan Gallagher, lower body, out at least 2 weeks. And Guhle, knee, 2 months. All updated today. All of those today. And boy, this just, it kind of hurts, Jesse, because we want to see these guys step up, get that extra playing time, especially a guy like Guhle, who was looking to be our number 1 defenseman. I mean, our defensive core has really not looked great this season so far, and just as we get Savard back, we lose another key guy in Kaiden Guhle.
Yeah, he's been arguably our best defender so far this year. I would say he has been our best, so it definitely hurts for sure. He's going to be out for a while. But it does help. Let's say if we are trying to tank, if some people kind of want us to get to the lower, to some of those higher spots for the draft, rather, this is going to help in that. I promise you, though, Kent Hughes had no play in this whatsoever. No. This is totally unintentional. That's all part of the game.
Yeah, coincidentally, it was his knee, huh? Yeah, Kent Hughes definitely didn't send for a kneecapping out back of the Habs practice facility. No, you're right, though. I mean, this is just really unfortunate because even if the team decides to go tank mode, which they're never going to do, they're never going to say it, Kaiden Guhle's the kind of guy you want to see on the ice during a season where you're not doing very well, right? He's the kind of guy that you need to get those NHL minutes. I mean, to be fair, he already looks like a complete pro, looks like he's a vet, but he's the kind of guy that you need to see on the ice more, just like Xhekaj, just like Barron, just like these other guys who just need the reps to get used to the NHL, to not make these little mistakes. So it's really unfortunate. We'll be keeping you guys up to date on the injuries as we move into the future. Final quick topic today. Riley Kidney is in a blockbuster trade for Bobby Orr. No, that's not a typo. Habs prospect Riley Kidney was involved in a blockbuster QMJHL trade. Now, we knew he was going to get traded as the season was going on to a better team, and he was traded to Gatineau today. He was finally moved hours before the QMJHL trade deadline to the Gatineau Olympique for a 2025 first-round pick, Donovan Alcino, and Bobby Orr in what was the blockbuster of the day in the Q. The Habs' second-round pick has been on another level this season, putting his team on his back with 13 goals, 28 assists, 41 points in 27 games. Jesse, must feel good to see Riley Kidney go to your hometown boys in Gatineau. And no, it's not that Bobby Orr, guys. Go search him up. He's a 23-year-old, or not 23-year-old, sorry, born in 03, almost 20-year-old forward that used to play for Gatineau. So anyway, Riley Kidney's been doing amazing, but it's got to feel good to see him go to Gatineau and maybe get a better shot to show off his skill set.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, well deserved. Definitely going to try and catch a game or two while he's around.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. I mean, it's just a funny headline. It's cool to know that our Habs prospects, even in the lower leagues, are getting huge respect from other teams, and we're trying to move them, trying to show off their best aspects. So I'm hyped about that. But that'll do it for this news edition. I almost stuttered on that. Today's news edition of Habs Digest. People aren't here at this point in the video. If you are, comment something ridiculous saying that you're still here, because let's be honest, I think it's like 10%, 5% of people are still here. So anyway, if you're still here, leave a comment letting me know you're still here. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you guys in the next one.